Hi everybody, I'm Jess, your go-to Street Fighter bestie, and we're here. World Street Woman Fighter K-Pop Challenge is officially dropped, and the amount of comments and messages I've received saying, Jess, it's here, let's go, has been so much. So much so, like, I feel very supported and loved of the fact you guys want me looking at this so fast. We're looking at it. I can't wait. Just the amount of circuits that are going to be imploding here on this show alone is just profound. We have D-League, we have Red Bull, we have Hip Hop International, we got World of Dance, we got Street Dance China, we got Just a Bit, and Summer Dance Forever. Like, I'm going to die, I think, just appreciating the vast caliber of competency of craft in this season. So if Mnet's gonna get one season right, it needs to be this. So I can't wait. If you don't know who I am Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator and dance analyst based out of the southeast of the United States. I have experience choreographing dances from a local and national scale. I am a former Hip Hop International national judge, so I have been very familiar with a lot of crews that we are going to be seeing here. I've seen their movement quality and studied it in order to receive certain certifications, so I am very excited to be in this position, being able to vibe out with you guys as a commentator for the show. I'm ready. I hope y'all are. Let's go. First up, we got Team Japan versus Team Korea. I'm ready. Oh.
This that flaunt, she just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama, let's be one. It'll be depending on the day. Pretty girls picking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no strike. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun, I make you wanna swing both ways. Oh, what it feel like, be on what it feel like all night. Oh, what it feel like, need you to talk no one. Sparkle for the brief, no way about it. We never let it ruin our good time. Ain't nobody gon' dim all that light. This them words we living by. This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, she just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama, let's be one. It'll be depending on the day. Pretty girls picking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no strike. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun, I make you wanna swing both ways. 말조도 못해서 cut shit. 포징 한 번에 만들어 mosh pit. They can't deal with me 'cause I'm priceless. 여러 사람들 속에 내 DNA. Yeah, yeah, out of my way. 바비가 저기가 되기 전에. Name string bling tryna bust my mama. 터뜨려봐 그럼 너 그 노래에서만 나는 거야 제일. Keep shading. 계속 자꾸만 beat away frame it. I've slayed it and I'm graded. Isn't guilty 잘난 게 죄니. Wanna rock with Jenny. Keep your head down, nails done like Jenny. I was gonna obsess like Jenny. Like. I think I really like Jenny. Haters they don't really like Jenny. 'Cause they can never ever beat Jenny. But hey, I'm that Jenny. It's Jenny. It's Jenny. Like Jenny. Rock with Jenny. Keep your head down, nails done like Jenny. I was gonna obsess like Jenny. This might hurt. I sweat hard. Wet t-shirt. Extra large. He's scared of the dirt. Yeah. This might hurt. I sweat hard. Wet t-shirt. Extra large. He's scared of the dirt. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this.
Okay. Oh, I should have warned you guys. You're not really going to get a ton of reaction out of me whenever we do a first watch on a competitive show like this. So because my brain's going 90-0, thinking through lots of thoughts. So I'm so sorry if you were expecting me to, like, go wild. It's most likely going to stay like this the whole time.
This that pretty girl mantra, this that flaunt, she just touched down in LA. Pretty girls don't do drama, let's be one. It'll be depending on the day. Pretty girls picking a defender, no I'm a defender, never let it catch no strike. This that pretty girl mantra, she's that stun, I make you wanna swing both ways. Oh, what it feel like, be on what it feel like all night. Oh, what it feel like, need you to deal with me cause I'm priceless. Yet I still just looking at DNA. Yeah, out of my way. Bobby and Chucky got take it, your name. Mainstream blames how to bust my mother. Don't tell about good, I'm looking honest, I'm a man of glass in it. Keep shaded, it's a tap, put me paid away, framed it. I've slayed it, and I'm graded. Isn't guilty, child, I'm get Jenny. Ooh, wanna rock with Jenny. Keep your head down, nails done like Jenny. That's gonna obsess like Jenny. Like. I think I really like Jenny. Haters, they don't really like Jenny. Cause they can never ever beat Jenny. But have you ever met Jenny? That's Jenny. Like Jenny. Keep your head down, nails done like Jenny. That's gonna obsess like Jenny. This might hurt. I spit hot, wet t-shirt, extra long, scared of the dirt. Yeah, what? This might hurt. I spit hot, wet t-shirt, extra long, scared of the dirt. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this. Do my ladies run this, ladies run this.
Okay. So my vote out of the two, I would be giving it to Team Japan just based on my trying to stay consistent to how I've looked at the K-pop challenge, which would be a couple things. Firstly, it's going to be, all right, who embodies the essence of the artist effectively? That would be one of them. Another is who copied whose choreo better? Because if you didn't notice, if this is your first time on the Street Fighter side, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here with us. But if you look, there's a little area in the corner. It's going to be hard with my little bubble, but it's going to show up at some point. And there's right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but right here. They also have it. They have it in all English. So it's to promote, more of a global interaction because normally that would be in Korean. So I think that's cool. But choreographed by Bumsup, copied by Rihata Tokyo, right? Or what is it? It's not Rihata Tokyo. It's a different acronym, but it's Rihata's team. The reasoning for my vote to Japan is I personally feel when it comes to the structure of the choreography, when they copied Bumsup, it matched the texture and posture of how they set up the choreo before and after well. And then they were able to hold down their own choreo going into the second section, right? Because they each get a chance to switch. Now, here's a logistic we do not know until we watch the episode, which it'll come out, in May. The question is this. Did they get to select the song, or were all the selections taken care of and they were given the song? Because that does change how somebody can approach a track. That I understand. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go from the tippy top and we're just going to go through it. I'm going to give, just remember, I'm one perspective of many. Please do not just take what I say as like, Jessica said this, so it must mean this. No, I have a lot of experience looking at the Street Fighter just essence of competition. I understand the type of stress levels that are being experienced here just from being a listening ear to those who've experienced it, as well as seeing it in through the episode viewers behind the scenes, things like that. So are they going to change those types of things? I don't know because it's more global. I have no idea any of those things. But do I personally feel that Bumsup? Well, I mean, side note, I really like that we have these little, chant situations happening in the beginning. It's really fun. Bumsup. I think this is very safe. I think it's clean. That's probably one of the only things going for this choreography. It is very safe. We do not have a lot of complexity and polyrhythm usage. So what they have, if we had a whole criteria, which we don't have, it's a global vote. And those who are probably going to be voting, they're going to go off of their personal judge's experience. It's not going to be, hey, let's train you on how to judge this schema, right? So a lot of these teams, I would say this is a project group. This is all the leaders of the first season of Street Woman Fighter, with the exception of Lip J, because Monica's pregnant. Lip J's on Proudmon, so she's representing on behalf of her. Their project. But a lot of these teams that we're going to be experiencing, they have gone through different circuits, like World of Dance or Hip Hop International, those things. And they're used to, okay, here's the criteria, and they're used to a panel of judges being trained to justify it. This is not that. So that's why, remember, I'm one perspective of many. I could be completely the opposite of all the voting. That's okay. Or I can be on the money for all of it. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to be a commentator to be helpful, because I do have crews sometimes actually watch these. So if any of you guys are watching, hi. But I want to be helpful. So if there's a way that I can be beneficial and feedback, that's what I'm here for. All right. But that's my, in general, note. They have cleanliness going for them. So out of the two, they were cleaner. But there's way more complexity, syncopation, polyrhythms, concepts, and creativity and originality coming from Team Japan on this particular one. But let's tackle it from the beginning. I like the setup here. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I like the little flicks right there onto the head and onto the hips. I think it's super cute. I like the V that we're starting out on. And then it goes, this, that pretty girl. From the jump, you're noticing what I'm going to be looking at is going to be timing and range. Range is how you get from A to B of a move. And that timing matters just as much as the punctuation of it, right? Of course, presentation and performance. Yes, all of these choreographies are going to look so much better live, but we don't have that privilege here. Most of the voting, all the voting is going to probably be happening on a computer screen, just like the judges who would be there on site. They have a computer screen because this is multiple takes in one go. Personally, I love a one take, but we're not given that for Mnet. They have a certain vanity about them, so they're going to take certain shots, XYZ, whatever. But right here, this looks like a ripple. And then we have mantra. I like that we have the wrist, stylized hands to help tie into the little finger taps. I like that we have it a little bit more, at least we have it balanced, where you have somebody who's a little bit lower to hinge on the stage right side. You have somebody compensating on the stage left side too. So that was nice. And I like these choices. The beginning looks really fun. I like the vibes of it. And then we hit it over to do a little head flick over to the side. And then we do a little walk, 1, 2, and 3, and on the third one we bring it in and then we hit it up. So at least when it comes to phrase bleeding, meaning that we're not just going on 5, 6, 7, 8 and then starting a new phrase on 1, like you're having a move and then you're starting a new move on a count that normally people wouldn't predict you to start on. Those are always good indicators. You want to have that. So that's cool. But range on this could be a little bit better, right? So you notice some of our arms a little bit higher, some a little bit bent. These are things, it's what I'm expecting from project teams. And that's something, even though how high the caliber is on so many people, if you're not used to having an implicit familiarity with each other, meaning that it's lived in, it's second nature, how you interact physically and nuance to the people next to you in your team, that kind of stuff is going to show up in choreography execution. So even though they were cleaner, I'll give them that. The synergy between them, it's not quite there yet, right? So could that be because of my lived knowledge of knowing, or could it just be because of what I'm looking at here? That's where the subjectiveness comes in. I can't verify whether that opinion is coming from the fact I know the information I know or from this routine. So we got to keep that in mind. So all this here, I like the flick of the hands, and then they go depending on the a hit and go out in. And side note, these are long. I wasn't expecting these to be like 3-minute routines. So bless them for that. Ooh, it's doing a 3-minute routine versus 45 seconds is different, guys. Okay, so I like that we have a little feature in center of Gabby. Then we take our hands, nice little flick on that, and it goes into a little add-on out of it. And then you have Gabby in center. She's having a little hand to make it look like she's doing a subtle control of all of them there. And then we go fen da 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 da. So they're doing a lot of these flick, not whipping kind of rotations, but I like the accents going on in the rotations. It does feel like we're really treading on power threes here, where we're doing a move 3 times and then deviating on the 4th, versus exploring different rhythmic patterns a little bit more aggressively to really enhance polyrhythms through content. Yeah, catch my straight. Like, that was nice with a hit up. Nice, something crazy there. And it goes, it's that pretty girl. So this little flick, I think, is tying back into the very beginning with the little taps. I think that's cute. Arms up are fun. And then it's going into an add-on, but it's a travel add-on, which is cool. And it goes swing both ways. Nothing crazy there. Yeah, it does feel very safe because of the reasonings that I've been saying. It doesn't feel like we're risk-taking in certain... formations. I would say the traveling, when you do a travel add-on like that, that's pretty risky because you do have to maintain spacing or make it to a certain window or a certain part in your formation in order to make it readable. So the readability is really nice. Now, is it too readable or too easy to digest for the amount of time that we're given? That's going to be dependent upon the person that's watching it. Then he goes, feel like, I love that. We go, feel like, boom, and then they whip it to actually promote a rotation on that. That was cool, new feature. And then they go hit and hit. I love that. And then we do a little pull down. The bleeds are really nice. And then they do a nice little arm extended up with the leg to flick out. So that was nice. I love the energy right here in center, which is cool. And they take the legs to bring it in. I love the subtlety. Good charisma there. And then they have the arm whip it around, and then they press it, and then they end up switching it up. Nothing crazy there. And then they switch and switch. So good chance, I'm curious, is depending on the feature in this, determine whose choreography we're using. Sometimes that happens when you look at the West Coast competition choreo scene. Sometimes when you see somebody who's like featured or in the front, they're normally the person who kind of choreographed it. Now, whether or not they were in charge of the schema of like cleaning it and XYZ, that's a little different. But that's something that in my brain, I'm like, this could be Coco and Butter kind of set, right? And then switch over, da-da-da-da-da. Cool. Nothing crazy there. So that they didn't quite connect the arms all the way through. You saw we let go a little bit. That's, that's whatever. The kicks are one thing too. Also, camera shots. You have camera shots involved here. How does your dance present on camera? That's part of the challenge too. I think I brought that up for Vietnam because that is a thing where we're not going to see this live until we're on tour. If they have a tour for the World Street Women Fighter, that'd be freaking sick. But genuinely, I think that's gonna be an indicator here is how did you take advantage of the camera shots? And I do think Japan really used them to some interesting advantages. But anyway, moving on. So they take the arms up, nothing crazy there, and then now this is their choreo that they asked Rihata's team to do. That boom, I like her choice. Good performance here, having the hands, and then they bring the arms around. So really cool usage of different levels of our arms, different angles of our arms. And then we have our arms up. Notice range could be better here. Some of our arms, remember, getting to these accents are one thing. How you get to them is different, right? So the flick out is fun. And a little walk, it's cute. And then to go drama, I felt some were giving charisma in the chest or using groove there, some weren't. Little things like that. And then one. And it goes depending on the day. And I like the accent down. The hops are fun. No. So it goes hit, and hinge around. And they go take the arms. I like the little trot transition. Nothing crazy there. The pickup is fine. Nothing crazy there. And I like the different arms on that. Da 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 da. And then we were trying to hit that dun da 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 in the back. So that was cool. And then we end up boom, moving to a new spot. Here we go. Now I really like the intensity of the shift that we're using. Our chopsticks out of it. That was cool, and I like that we have it like we're about to stab somebody in the back. That was cool. She brings it up. I love that little rotation of the wrist, which is cute. Good charisma there. We do a little chugs with a little bit more of a fullness where we're kind of spacing out where those knees are, which is cool. Nothing crazy there. And then we bleed it up. Nice poses over on the sides. Yep. And even this here, it does feel like we're a bit muted in our transition. It doesn't feel like we're hitting the intensity of that bite in the track where it's like, yeah, it just feels like we're walking. It's like we're marking it, right? And if you don't know what marking is when you go full out, you're going as big as possible. Marking is I'm walking through mentally what's going on, doing a couple things here and there to my full energy and full capacity, but I'm being intentional with withholding. Fullness is kind of what the best way for right now in this moment for me to explain it as, right? Anyway, the poses are fine. The walk through is nothing crazy, so she's nice and posed. The look over is fine. Nice little pose to the other side. Pick it over. Nice how she points it down. Really cool. And then all this here, it's fun. Good energy to a certain degree on that. Like I feel like it's a lot of this that and having extra fabric can be helpful for these types of choices, and it feels like because we're operating with a very skin tight upper body, there's not a lot of fabric that can help create a subconscious reverb in your choices to make it feel like it's residual. Just like whenever you see people dance and you see their fringe, like like it shakes because they're going so full. Little things like that, our body and our eyes just take and absorb and digest and go, oh, they're going really full. But because we don't have that in the upper body fit, and that's just a subjective, you don't have to have that to be intense. There's many crews that can do it mighty fine, but can it help? It can be a fantastic aid if you're wanting to shift tone, which is another thing that I think Japan did very well, because I was going to give them the note of their jackets were very dark for the type of background, but I know sometimes you can't control that. But when they took it off to reveal the red, that actually helped tone shift without having to actually create a liability with having all your jackets on the ground, if that makes sense. So anyway, so I like that they tried to frame it. I don't know if it was quite readable there, if they were trying to frame with the chopsticks for her, and it wasn't centered either. And when I go by center, I'm not talking about if there's a marking. There's technically a marking right there. That's your center. So she's in center. I think Gabby's too far in. I think she needs to scoot out a bit. Lip J's in a pretty decent spot around to where you can see a different, you know, like an actual horseshoe effect, so that would be a little indicator there. Or it could just be we're trying to promote individuality when we need to be more structured in some of those essences. Accent through. And like good energy there as she brings it over one side. We have that, ooh, it's like we're smoking it, right? That's cool. And even there, like Jenny, like it's cool, like it feels like we have our energy starting on our hip, but we don't let our torso get involved in it. Could it be because of the fit, or could it be because of our energy and the stamina and fatigue of how many takes we've had to do? That could be an indicator too. Yeah, nails done like Jenny. I like how we look over to the sides, which is cute. And then boom, obsessed like Jenny. So I like how we have these little interruptions. Could it be ticking, strobing? I don't know if we are refined enough technically to be pulling ticking or strobes, but I think it's fun though. Then they go like, so that's cute. Little assistance there. So they grab the chopsticks. So I like the practical, like, transition of the props on that. Little taps on that is fine. Switch it over. Jenny's cute. And I like da-da-da-da-da-da. I liked that, where it was individualized so everybody matched the dynamic to get into their poses. Heel digs was fun. That was good energy there. And then we end up, you know, Mima spaghetti up at the top. So this is RH Tokyo's choreo. All that was cute. Yep, Jenny. And it goes, Jenny. So we did a zoom in here. This is also something I'm going to always advocate for until I die. I truly wish, if we are going to do a switch off on choreography, that Mnet needs to have a standard camera shot for both teams so we can see who truly did it better as a fixed cam. Because the issue that we run into is we are super zoomed in here. I cannot see how everybody's doing this choreo. I can only go off of the bust. But whereas when you got RH Tokyo going, it's a different vantage point. So that's not going to be good for it's not going to be good for those who are judging or trying to do feedback or whatever, to know how did you fare here whenever it's not truly a side by side. I can't like scroll and we're seeing, okay, this is what you were doing and this is why this fell short and this is why this worked for you, and vice versa. So I'm still going to give that note to Mnet. I feel like it's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna get what I want, and that's okay because they don't care about me. That's whatever. But anyway, and they bring it up, boom, boom. That's totally fine. Set it back, that Jenny, and then they bring it forward, take the energy up, nothing crazy there, and then they do a nice little hook around. They go out in. So all that there is fine. It just feels like we're cutting off some of our movements a little bit. Like we're not using this as fully as I think could be helpful for this track. So that was a decent kind of like pass off cannon situation where you had Aiki go first and then you had your second line, right? Well, it looks like she went down and then she caused them to look inward, and then you had your line 2 drop lower. So that was cool. And then we had our head over to the side and like the little head nod there. So the fullness is, I like the hypeness of what we're trying to go for there. And then we melt out of it, which is cool. And then we end up pulsing it 1, 2, 3, flick. Then we end up switching the other way. It just felt like a filler, that second one. So it was 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, boom, boom. Ah, man. Because it doesn't, oh man, I'm trying to use different vocabulary to hopefully be more specific to what I'm talking about. These kinds of choices, it's not a pop. So there's not a technical like term for that. It's just like you're jerking into a place or you're accenting a position. And then we have a wrist ISO and then we switch it up. But because of what we were hitting, it doesn't feel like we're not switching up what part of the music we're hitting on. So it kind of feels like, here's our standard start, ding, ding, boom, boom. And because we are entertaining basic rhythms throughout the choreography, those kinds of moments don't allow it doesn't feel as captivating because you've already been saturating the routine with those types of moments. I think is probably what the best way I could word it today is. But remember, I'm an open book. I'm open-minded. There could be so many situations that happen behind the scenes that kind of prompted this to take place. We have to keep in mind, for a vote or for judging, we're not going to have the privilege of background information, which is why we have to go off of here's how it presents. It doesn't mean that's the full picture. Never my intention. So Something to keep in mind. But that feels a little bit too basic for a finale-based kind of hype section. T-shirt, little extra large, somewhat very internal, somewhat very full. That's going to modify or adjust how full your group's intentionally wanting to go. Wrist rotation, little swing is fine. Bring it through the ha-ha, cute. Back, side to side. This, it felt like we were going to extremity, so we were isolating from the shoulders, and we were not letting the torso get involved on it, so it felt very, it just feels very restrictive here, which I wish we had a little bit more exploration on that torso. But the travel through, I like the pull on that. That was nice. And then she has a little fun, humorous moment, which can work especially for those who were involved in the Street Fighter franchise. We know Aiki's always been a humorous person, but there's gonna be a lot of people that look and go, why did she do that? Right? So that's also another thing where for me, I think that's humorous, I think that's cute, but is it going to help them? I don't know. It just depends on who watches and who votes. That's life, right? So the little dig on that is fine. So they bring it through, and then we end up melting out of it. Notice that we're kind of letting our arms do the grunt work, and we're not letting our torsos take those risks with them. I think that's something I think that's my big note I'm going to give this. We're not letting this come into play nearly as much as I think it needs to really make these stand out. The melts are fun. I like the level change on that. It's cool. Subtlety. Then they go boom, boom, boom. Cool. Bring the arms over, take the leg, we kick it around. High, low, subtlety. Ladies run this, ladies run this. So the ending's really cool. Run this, and then they walk. Fun little finish. Cool. Way to go, ladies. Like, I think they held their own pretty okay, but I do think like that would have fared very well in season 1, maybe season 2, but for World of a Street Woman Fighter, because we have been saturated in multiple seasons, this feels like we're kind of plateauing on creativity right now, so I'm really hopeful that we're able to up the ante on that for future challenges. And sometimes you're not aware of that happening unless somebody brings it up, or whenever you play back and you see in comparison of how your team movement quality wise fares with others. I'm not saying that they're incapable of it. No, I think why fix what ain't broke? They've been successful in the first season, so why fix what ain't broke? You know, but now I'm saying we're gonna have to tweak it up and update it, or it's not gonna fare long term. So, but let's go ahead and talk about boom, RH Tokyo. Yeah, these little theme songs are super cute. Such a vibe. Okay. From the jump here, I like that they have the Jenny on the back. I think that was cute. So you have the pretty different heads. It's cute. We're here for it. Zoom in, nothing crazy there. And it goes this, that, pretty girl. They said we're coming. We ain't coming to play. Welcome. We're about to rip it up. Yeah, da 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 da. So I like the fullness, out and up. So when it comes to fullness of energy, 1,000-fold. I do think Team Japan really brought it in fullness because they're involving this. Could it also be because of their jackets? Maybe. But are they as clean? No. So it really just depends. Are you going to, what's going to weigh heavier for you? Musicality, synchronicity, creativity, complexity? Because if somebody's not clean but they're complex versus a team that's simple but clean, some people are going to weigh things heavier than others. For me, it's going to be musicality, creativity through musicality. I always love to strive to have a certain degree of synchronicity so we can see what you're trying to let us digest from your set. And I do think whatever style that you're representing or what you're hybriding in your choreo, it needs to have a sense of authenticity in the presentation of it. So that's where I'm coming from whenever I look at these, but I do know not everybody views it that way. Some are like, I liked it because it just felt good to me. Some people just go off of the layman gut feeling, and that's totally fine, and there's value to that too. So anyway, so we're here. I like they hit it, boom, pretty girls, doom, and they end up they ball change it. So they actually are writing a different part of the music immediately here. So if you listen, they go, pretty girls, doo-doo-doo. There's that little bass in the back. That's really cool. The fact that their choreography is allowing me to hear the song in a different way helps showcase the difficulty in musicality that they're trying to go for. So that's the kind of stuff that I really am digging about this so far. Unless we won the rock forward, and then we have a little subtlety with this arm on that, which is cool. Hitting and a boom, boom, boom. So I like the hit, clap, clap. So that's cute. And then you have a little feature in the front. And then we give subtlety, and then they go nice and really fast and rigid after it too, which is cool. And then goes subtlety, where we separate and we do our chest, so it's in isolation, but there's fullness in the drop of the level there. And then we hit they bring it over, da-da-da-da, they go on the horns. Then the horns have a sense of gregariousness about it, meaning a little bit happier, upbeat tone about it. So how they took it, I like the different shift in personality, and I liked how she took it and she ran with it, and they used that as a transition. That was cool. And then it goes pulse. Yeah, they go this, that, pretty girl, mantra. And notice there that goes, they end up doing it 3 times. Why did that feel more captivating than what we were noticing when we were going in Power of Threes for Team Korea? It's because they're not saturating their set in the Power of Threes. They have been syncopating, they were showcasing complexity through timing, through formations, through levels, and through content. And then when you had something simple, it actually created a heartbeat effect, which is what you want. You don't want to plateau overly complex, and you don't want to plateau too simple. You want to have both showcase, which everybody's capable of doing. It just depends on the timeline that you're given, outside circumstances, the music and how it rests and sits with you, the synergy of your team, and just how you time manage all of that together. So with Mnet, it's so like we cannot empathize with the teams nearly as much as they can with each other. So that's why for me, as much as I'm like, these are some areas that we need to grow in, there are so many logistics in play that it is absolutely okay that everybody most likely will be holding their own here. No one's going to be rolling on the floor and dying, right? So I think everybody should receive support from their efforts here, is what I'm saying here, okay? So anyway, so I like how she takes she takes her arms up, causing everybody to reset, and then she goes, what was it, swing both ways? Yeah, swing both ways, and then on ways, they turn, and now we're facing different directions. Look, they're using an aerial cam, which is pretty cool, and a lot of times people will be like, why are they using it? That's part of the challenge, is how to use your cameras, because I do think they have the power to do that based on the episode, like behind the scenes, like you're able to see that. Now, are they going to show that? I don't know, but I like the aerial shot there. And then they go, feel like. So even from there, notice that it is a little bit hard because of that camera, because there's most likely a rig that's on the base part, like by the bottom of the stage. So it is really hard to see this here. So getting an aerial shot was very smart, because they would have to drop a level in order for us to clearly see this. So will they have to do that at some point? Maybe. But an aerial shot allowed us to see the visual they wanted us to see, so it felt intentional in comparison to us just getting this shot and them getting a note on it because they say, I can't see what you're trying to tell us, So that's pretty decent. So actually, hold on, let me see. Feel like. Yeah, it goes feel like. So they wrap it around. Some of our choices were ending up here. So that's similar range discrepancies that we saw in Team Korea. Then they drop it down, and I like the flick up after that. And they go switch up. Now some are switching off the heels, and others are actually popping from the back. That is going to adjust your timing. But I think that's cool. They end up rotating the arms up and around. And then they end up doing a little pull. Some of us were pulling from the chest, love it, and others were just doing a little chasse, a little gallop. So it's little details like that I think could help improve the synchronicity, especially on fits like this. And they go low, and they go hit, mo. And I like that we have our 2 go to the front. They say, oh, hi, and then they present their arms together. Nice little partner moment here, but I personally would like to see what's going on with everybody else, but because they can control what we see, I understand that can be part strategy, not sure though. And they bring it through, boom, boom. A lot of these little, these jerking transitions or glitch transitions, I think could be cleaner in order for us to really appreciate them. And then I like her little clap down. She brings it up. I like the twinkles as we move it over, which is nice. And we travel it up, which is really nice. I like the little tap, 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 which is really cool. And then she rotates around. Come on now. And then we have this moment here, this, that, pretty girl. So they have to match the energy of Bumsup, or make it to where it matches what they're doing too. So they have to justify and make it very clear, but also make it match their set. Yeah, the little mantra. Notice that this little bite that she does there, like meaning that the press forward is really, really fun on that. And it goes flantra, we flick it over, hit, and then touchdown in LA, the reach out, and they go, pretty girls, don't you? I like that we keep it fixed as we do our walk. Really nice, that's pretty readable. And it goes drama, and we go a little party moment here. And depending on the day, I like the levels on that, little hops. All that works. Like it matches the type of charisma that they've been presenting before, so it doesn't feel like it's just sticking out like a sore thumb. So that's pretty good. I think both teams, neither of the choreos stuck out in the way where it's like, oh, I can tell that's not their choreo, which is a good sign. So, and then we do a little trot with the pickups. It's cute. And then it goes this, that, pretty girl mantra. Yeah, so all that is fine. Mantra, sthana, and they pull it out. Come on, march, march, march. Okay, it should be different tone set for a different track, even though it's the same artist. You could have certain fingerprints embedded throughout, just like having a similar tone also works, but it can't feel the same, or it's gonna feel like we're plateauing. So what do? We have some of our girls move off the stage, the little vibration down, we're here for it. Come on now. I love that's a fun costume reveal. We got the red, form-fitting fit, I'm assuming with the red. That's time more to Jenny. I do know that we have, I have seen Mantra, like I've mentioned before, but I have seen the point choreos for the other two tracks here. So there's not going to be a single track that I'm unfamiliar with here, which is really cool. But anyway, so I like her energy on that is fun. Then we do another reveal, and I love the fact that it's other people assisting her in that, and the quickness of it is still very much a surprise, even though she's in the very front. That's super risky, but very effective. So I like that they bring it around, over, they make it a fun feature moment, and we're creating, it's a tone shift, which is really cool. And then she has her moment here. She's like, come on over. She does a little grab, and it actually helped allow this pull to take place. And we already have somebody else with hers already off. Really cool. And I love the fact that these are attached to the pant, because you're not going to deal with the logistic of, okay, how do I get this jacket off stage? It works. It's great. So she has a little moment, pop, 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 and I like the little flick up there. And then she goes, come on now. The flick's over. She says, I don't care. Let's go. The melt's over. She says, come on now with the pull. Bring it into the column. That's one of the first times we're actually seeing the reveal where it's an intentional, okay, we see them taking it off for her, but it's still very quick, so it doesn't even, it's not distracting, which is cool. So that feels very well rehearsed in the transition of the actual fit. So she goes hit, 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 and the little drop down is cool. She gets it over, she flicks it, come on now, and she does a little boom, she does a little slap over, and she says, okay. And though now we have one person who doesn't have the red fit right now. She has hers in all black, so now she sticks out in a cool way, and she is the feature, so it works. It's cool. So I like how she hits from one side to another, little Supermans, then she travels it to the inside, and then she moves forward. She's still our feature. I like the framing of that, very clear and readable, and she brings it over. Charisma. She brings it around, come on. And then she switched it up, little pot de beret variant coming out of that, and she has her little moment, boom, boom, come on, intensity. And she says, she goes, she's hitting the nuance of the personality of the track, was really cool. Then you have everybody with a reveal. Now she's now joined the chat. And then that's Rihata, yeah? Yeah. Down, nails done. Oh, they're like, we're not doing nails, we're doing nails are done. Oh, like Jenny, come on. Yeah, wanna rock with Jenny. Whoa. English, Jess. I wanna rock with Jenny. So I like with the basses or the percussion in the back, they're using that with intention and intensity with the head. That's cool. Hair done, nails done. So they go to the head because that's where hair is, nails done in front to say, hey, we're now focusing on the hands. Really interesting way of interpreting that. It's cool. Like Jenny, oh, come on now. And then here, boom, they go, little double bounce down, and with the look over is cool. Like bass, and I like the subtle level drop is cool, and I like the different arms. We got high, mid, low. And having the two go lower, even though you have your front and your back similar levels, there's separation because you have a different level in between. So now it's easier to see each of your lines. Pretty cool. And the look over, we walk over, we hit it over, boom, boom, come on, with extra basses on it. The swing down is nice. Hit, hit, and I love the shake of the head as we switch over. It's a choice everybody's making, not just one person. So it feels very communal in the choice. Come on now. And then we hit bass, bass, and she goes, Jenny, come on, hit, with the head is really nice, and they travel it up, Jenny, and they hit it over, ding, ding, boom, 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 so a little isos as we travel it over to the other side. I like that where we're going and we're switching it off from one side to another, letting the torso get involved. And the pull over, I like that we're letting our chest get pulled in the process is really nice. I like the punches hit, boom, boom, down, good intensity. So they're showing subtlety because you don't have percussion in play. Then you got that percussion coming in hot here, so they have to bump up the intention and the fullness of that in order to see the contrast, which is pretty tricky to do if it's especially not your choreo. So that was really cool. Then it goes, Jenny, boom, boom. So they take it up and then they shove it down, really cool. And then I like that we have the accents with the arms out. And then I like the pulse on that. And then they go head down. It's interesting that we don't have our head knocked down at that part, but that could just be me and my brain, that's whatever. So this part I didn't even realize, which is good for Bumsup. I didn't realize that this was RH Tokyo's section, which to me I think reiterates the point. For me, a success is if both teams can integrate both sections of choreo to set both up for success in their sets. Neither looked like a fish out of water, so that to me is progress in so far in terms of the show, because a lot of times you'll really clearly see the difference, but that just shows you how fun this is going to be. Oh, so fun. Anyway, the switch off and then the little extra accent forward, and I like the fullness of this, letting the chest pop off, and then she does a little knock right there, and then they have a little moment here, hit, little clap. They're having a little moment with just a little rock over. Some of us are just squatting, and some of us are all the way down. I like the intention of we're just hyping in our line. And it goes, yeah, come on now. Now this here, it does feel like we're going network a little bit, right? Which does work to a certain degree on some of Jenny's tracks. Some Afro can be really helpful in understanding how to hit the syncopation in the percussion. It's cool. So yeah, all that, they're using that to help transition. This feels more like a personality choice, not a we're tired, so we're just being more muted. So I think, if anything, that just shows too, because of how they've been presenting themselves up until this point, it does make it easier for whenever you are going more subtle. It feels like an intentional choice, not okay, they look a bit winded, which is cool. A lot of that comes from performance up here. They hop, which is cool. There's your V. We have one of my girls over on the side, so I think that could have improved there. Yeah, but she got there. Look at that. That's being smart. So it goes 1, 2, ha, up, ha. So I like the fullness there. Yeah, and the ladies now. But if we're doing unison, that's the note I'm going to give that, though. The range is pretty off on some of our choices, where their angles could greatly improve for that. But we rotate around. But if their intention's like, we'll milli rock how we feel, then hey, mission accomplished. Nothing crazy there. I like the subtlety as we're creating this little, what is it? It's not a reverb, it's not a rebound, but it's definitely it's like a slinky version of it, if that makes sense. It's cool. The switch, I like that, and the bass, and then we have tension traveled around. And then it goes, That is your viral pull right there. You've seen the wait, tell me like I love you. But they switch it over in a different variant. It's cool. Then we go boom, dooma. So notice that we're not hitting as much of the basses because there's no bass left to hit on that. So then we change our dynamic to get us to a new spot. And then we slowly come up. And I like that we have our jacket. We pull it up. We ain't done with it. We didn't cross it. And then we, boom, have a nice little accent with the head up. That was dope. That was cool. So that's who I would vote for out of the two. I would vote for Team Japan based on my personal preferences of how I would look at something for feedback. What normally gets looked at that people tend to be captivated by would be heavy musicality, complexity, originality, creative choices, things like that. I do think RH Tokyo did very well on the type of track, embodying the essence of the type of backtrack that's involved in Jenny's stuff. Now, when it comes to cleanliness, Korea did pretty well on that, where it's very readable to see, but when it comes to captivation throughout the entirety of the routine, I think Team Japan here had more moments that drew you back in and allowed you to hear the song in a different way, which people are learning people, so the more a routine allows somebody to feel like they're learning something new about a track, the more likely you're going to view it more positively because you have more investment, because it's shaped and changed how you perceive those types of sequences. It's kind of like a long-winded explanation of these were cool. So this is great. I'm excited for the next ones. Let's go.